Most people think they're making their own decisions. They think they choose to open Instagram. They think they choose to watch one more YouTube video. They think they choose to check their phone just one last time. But what if I told you that many of those decisions were already predicted before you even made them? Every morning, millions of people wake up with good intentions. This is the day I'll finally focus. I'll finish that project. I'll study. I'll work out. I'll stop wasting time. But within minutes, their phone is in their hand. A single notification turns into 10. One short video becomes 20. A quick check of social media quietly steals the next hour. And by the end of the day, nothing important gets done. Most people call this laziness. Some blame a lack of motivation. Others think they simply don't have enough discipline. But modern neuroscience tells a different story. The real battle isn't happening in your schedule. It isn't happening in your calendar. It's happening inside your brain. And the weapon being used against you isn't fear. It isn't stress. It's dopamine. Now here's where most people get it completely wrong. You've probably heard dopamine described as the pleasure chemical. That sounds simple. It also happens to be misleading. If dopamine only created pleasure, then why do people keep chasing things that eventually make them miserable? Why do gamblers keep gambling after losing thousands of dollars? Why do people endlessly refresh social media, even when it leaves them feeling empty? Why do so many people know exactly what's hurting them, yet still can't stop? Because dopamine isn't simply about pleasure. It's deeply involved in motivation, learning, and your brain's expectation of rewards. Imagine walking through a forest thousands of years ago. Your ancestors had no smartphones, no Netflix, no fast food, no endless entertainment. Finding food required effort. Finding shelter required effort. Survival itself depended on paying attention to opportunities. Whenever the brain recognized something valuable, food, safety, a new discovery, it reinforced that behavior, making it more likely you'd repeat it in the future. That system helped humans survive. It rewarded learning, persistence, exploration. But the world changed much faster than our brains did. Today, you don't need to hunt. You don't need to search. You don't even need to stand up. Entertainment arrives instantly. Food arrives instantly. Validation arrives instantly. Everything your brain once had to work for now waits just one tap away. At first, that sounds like progress. But hidden inside that convenience is a trap almost nobody notices. Every swipe, every notification, every autoplay video, every like, every vibration in your pocket. They're all competing for the same thing: your attention. Because attention has become one of the most valuable resources on Earth. The longer you stay on a platform, the more money that platform makes. Which means billion-dollar companies spend billions of dollars learning one thing: how to keep you from leaving. Not because they're evil, because that's their business model. The brighter the colors, the smarter the recommendation algorithm, the more personalized the content, the harder it becomes for your brain to walk away. And over time, something strange begins to happen. Normal life starts feeling slow. Reading a book feels boring. Studying feels exhausting. Working on your goals feels impossible. Even sitting quietly for 5 minutes becomes uncomfortable. Not because those activities changed, but because your brain has become used to constant stimulation. And once that happens, silence starts feeling like punishment. Think about the last time you tried to do something important. Maybe it was studying for an exam, writing an email, building a business, learning a new skill, or simply reading 10 pages of a book. You sat down with the best intentions, and then, without even thinking, your hand reached for your phone. Not because it rang, not because someone texted you, just because your brain wanted something easier, something faster, something more exciting. That moment seems harmless, but it's actually one of the most powerful habits your brain can learn. Every time you interrupt a difficult task to check your phone, your brain receives a simple message. Hard work can wait. Easy rewards are available right now. Repeat that hundreds of times, then thousands, and eventually, your brain starts expecting instant stimulation whenever work becomes uncomfortable. This is one reason many people struggle to stay focused. Not because they've used up dopamine, but because they've practiced escaping effort with immediate rewards. And that's exactly how habits become automatic. Here's something even more surprising. The apps on your phone don't have to force you to open them anymore. After enough repetition, your brain starts doing the work for them. You unlock your phone without a reason. Open one app, close it, open another. Refresh your inbox, check your messages. Then somehow, you end up watching videos you never planned to watch. Minutes quietly become hours. If you've ever wondered, how did I get here? You're not alone. This happens to millions of people every single day. And the scary part, most of them don't even notice it's happening. Scientists have spent decades studying habit formation. One of the clearest patterns they've found is that habits become stronger when a behavior is rewarded consistently or even unpredictably. That's why social media feels so compelling. Sometimes there's an exciting message. Sometimes there's nothing. Sometimes a funny video appears. Sometimes a post gets hundreds of likes. Your brain never knows exactly what comes next. And that uncertainty itself can keep people checking again and again. The next swipe might be the one. The next notification might be important. The next video might be even better. That endless possibility keeps the cycle alive. Now imagine trying to compete with that. Imagine opening a textbook instead. The words don't move. There are no flashing lights, no notifications, no instant rewards, no endless surprises. Just slow, steady progress. Your brain isn't broken for finding that harder. It's responding to the environment you've trained it to expect. The good news is that brains can adapt. The same way repeated scrolling can strengthen one habit, repeated focus can strengthen another. Attention is like a muscle. Ignore it for long enough, and it becomes weaker. Train it consistently, and it becomes stronger. This is why the goal isn't to remove dopamine. That's impossible. Without dopamine, you couldn't learn, move toward goals, or feel motivated to do much of anything. The real goal is much simpler. Stop allowing low-effort distractions to control where your attention goes. Because every time you choose your priorities over your impulses, you're teaching your brain a different lesson. You're reminding it that meaningful rewards are worth waiting for. And that's where real change begins. Now, imagine two different versions of yourself. The first wakes up and immediately reaches for a phone. Within seconds, the brain is flooded with messages, headlines, videos, memes, and notifications. Before breakfast, hundreds of tiny decisions have already been made. Scroll, swipe, tap, refresh, repeat. By the time real work begins, the mind already feels tired, not because it worked hard, but because it never had a moment of silence. Now picture the second version. The alarm goes off, the phone stays face down, no social media, no endless scrolling, just a glass of water, a short walk, a few quiet minutes, maybe reading, maybe writing down a plan for the day. Nothing dramatic, nothing flashy, but something important is happening. Instead of reacting to the world, that person is deciding how the day begins. It may not feel exciting. In fact, it might even feel a little boring. And that's exactly the point. We've become so addicted to constant stimulation that we've started confusing peace with boredom. The truth is, some of the most successful people in the world spend hours doing things that look incredibly ordinary. Reading, thinking, planning, practicing, building. They don't need constant excitement. They've learned something most people never do. Real progress is usually quiet. The internet celebrates dramatic transformations, the overnight millionaire, the viral success story, the incredible before and after photo. But it rarely shows the thousands of ordinary decisions that made those moments possible. Success isn't built in moments of excitement. It's built in moments that feel too ordinary to post online. Every time you choose to finish one more page instead of checking your phone, every time you complete one more workout instead of skipping it, every time you stay focused for 10 more minutes, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. At first, those votes seem invisible. Nothing changes overnight. But days become weeks, weeks become months, and one day people look at you and say, "You're so disciplined." What they don't see is that discipline wasn't something you suddenly found. It was something you practiced, one small decision at a time. And here's the part most people never hear. Your brain doesn't care about your goals. It responds to your actions. You can tell yourself you want to become healthier, wealthier, smarter, more focused. But if your daily habits tell a different story, your brain will believe your habits, not your words. That's why motivation fades so quickly. Motivation is a feeling. Habits are evidence. Feelings come and go. Evidence stays. Every repeated action becomes proof of who you believe you are. If every evening ends with hours of mindless scrolling, your brain starts expecting that routine. If every morning begins with purposeful action, your brain begins expecting that instead. The identity you build tomorrow starts with the choices you make today. And the most powerful part is, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to stop letting distractions make your decisions for you. Because every moment of intentional focus is another step toward becoming the person you've always wanted to be. So where do you start? Not by deleting every app, not by throwing your phone away, and definitely not by trying to become a completely different person overnight. Real change almost never begins with extreme decisions. It begins with small ones. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, don't touch your phone for the first 30 minutes. It will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will keep telling you, just check one notification, just 5 minutes. Nothing will happen. But that's the voice of a habit, not a necessity. Instead, drink a glass of water. Step outside if you can. Take a few deep breaths. Write down the 3 most important things you want to accomplish today. Then start the hardest one before opening social media. It won't feel amazing. It won't magically transform your life in a single day. But something far more important will happen. You'll prove to yourself that you're capable of choosing your attention instead of giving it away. The next day, try extending that focus time a little longer. Read 10 pages. Go for a short walk without your phone. Eat one meal without watching a screen. Turn off notifications you don't actually need. Little by little, you're changing the environment around you. And when your environment changes, your habits become easier to change too. Remember, the goal isn't to remove dopamine. The goal is to stop letting endless stimulation control your decisions. Because the quality of your attention shapes the quality of your life. Where your attention goes, your time follows. Where your time goes, your future follows. Years from now, you probably won't remember the hundreds of random videos you watched. You won't remember the notifications, the trends, the endless scrolling. But you'll remember the book that changed the way you think, the skill you finally mastered, the business you built, the conversation that changed your life, the moments you were fully present. Those are the experiences that stay with you. Every single day, the world is competing for your attention. Companies want it. Apps want it. Algorithms want it. But there's one question that matters more than anything else. Who gets to decide where your attention goes? A machine designed to keep you scrolling? Or you? Because the person you become over the next 5 years won't be decided by luck. It won't be decided by talent. It will be shaped by what you choose to pay attention to every single day. Maybe the most valuable thing you own isn't your money. It isn't your house. It isn't even your time. It's your attention. Protect it, and you'll protect your future. Lose it, and you'll slowly lose control over the direction of your life. So before you unlock your phone tomorrow morning, pause for just a moment and ask yourself one simple question. Am I choosing this, or is this choosing me? If that question made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to take back control of your mind, subscribe, because this is just the beginning.